What's up, guys? I'm J-Dubb, and today we're talking all about Meshtastic, and we're going to be building a Meshtastic solar radio. We'll stick it up. I need one up there at the airport, so we're going to stick one up there. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 up already, and maybe we'll take you around this video, kind of show you what those look like, show you how they're doing. So far they've been working really well, but really I want to kind of show y'all this little build, show you how easy it is. Meshtastic, guys, is super easy to get into, fairly cheap. When we're done with this, I'll put it down below, like what each one of these little radios cost and what each one of these little setups cost. But I like the rack wireless board. Has some features in it that I really like. I don't have to buy other things for it. It's all pretty plug and play. Everything that you're going to see is off of Amazon except the antenna. If you buy the antenna on Amazon, it's about double the price as if you get it off eBay, so I'll throw a link down below too. I don't get anything for that one, but the rest of the links down there are my affiliate links. We do get a little bit for that, so if you want to help out the channel, you can. It's all down there. Let's get to this build. Alright, guys, so this is the box we're going to be using. Here's the solar panel we're going to be using. You can see it's pretty big, but let me go ahead and get y'all on the overhead camera, and we'll start taking things apart and start showing you what we are dealing with here. Alright, guys, so here is our box. Real easy. This is about everything in it we're going to need. I like these little pieces. They are M2 connectors. You need to find the one that has the longer screws, though. If I can remember it, I'll put these down in my Amazon store. These work really well. They're just little standoffs. I like the brass ones. Just, you can tighten them up better. And everything in this box is plastic, so you don't have to worry about things grounding out. The battery we're using, 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It works good. This box is a little bit bigger, so we could probably go with a little bit bigger box. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Here is really good connection there. Here is the heart of your Meshtastic board. This is your rack wireless board. Here's your antennas for it. Here's your Bluetooth. And here is that radio antenna it comes with. We're not actually going to be using that one except for testing. I buy these in connectors with, I forget what the name of these little connectors are. I'll throw it in here. You'll see it. Like I said, all this stuff's going to be in my Amazon store. But here is how we do this. You got to get the box with the little tray on the inside. It makes it way easier. Helps you with your waterproofing. That way you only have 2 holes in the whole box. You're going to have one on the bottom, we're going to have one at the top. One at the top is going to be for the antenna, one on the bottom is going to be for our solar coming in. I have seen where people put them off to the side and have it come up. That's also a good idea depending on which antenna you're using. But if you're using adapters to get that 90, you're going to lose a little bit in that 90. And you're already only dealing with like about a watt of power as it is. So here's our little box. Now with these things, you're going to find that you'll never get you'll never get all 4 of them to line up on these things, but we don't need all 4. We only need 2. Like I said, I've got several of these things up and they all work really well. Put the little standoff on it, find a hole that lines up. For me, it's been the second hole. Go to the very top, there we go. Kind of a tight fit. You can kind of see that. Can you see that right there? Yeah, if you don't get the longer screws, they will not poke all the way through. And then I just take and tighten it up. And I leave my other leg on the other corner a little bit loose so that I can line it up. Because if not, you're going to put pressure on the board. But you'll see it just kind of, it'll just line up down here. Boop. Just like that. You see how it just kind of lines up with the hole? It can move around a little bit. You can also loosen this top one up just a hair to help it. That way the whole board can kind of move around. It can find its center, but that's how it's going to sit on the board. So let me get this other screw in. This is the hard part, is finding which hole that one comes to. Alright, so we got that one lined up. Like I said, all I'm doing is kind of looking at it. Once you get the bottoms tight, so they're tight. Remember, our top ones are still a little bit loose. I'll just go through, snug them up. I'm using a 532 socket and just putting them on finger tight. Boom. That board is not going anywhere. It'll be there till the cows come home. The only really thing you want to watch out for is you don't want to cover up your holes. That way you can screw it back in a lot easier. I believe we are done with it out of the box now. It's really all you're using that one for. Unless you're going to use zip ties to hold your battery in, which I'm not. I'm just going to use 2-sided tape. The first one I built, I used zip ties for, and I don't really see a need. Alright, so now it's in. Our radio is in here. Now, before we get too carried away, this is our battery. This is off of another project, so it still has tape on it. The real question is, do I want to put it down here? Or I'm kind of liking it over here. And the reason I like it over here, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to stick it right there. One, that's not going to go anywhere. Two, we can plug it in. We have plenty of room around it. It's got airflow, but if this box were to ever get water in it, it's got to fill all the way up to here before it even gets to our electronics. Where if I had it on the bottom, it could short out that board, cause a fire. If you don't know, these little batteries, you do need to watch out. This and the 18650s, they are not the safest battery in the world. I see people using them all over the place. I like them, but just remember, they are not the safest thing out there. They're not a Life PO4 battery. They will actually burn and they'll self-propagate. So just be careful with them. Now, for your external antenna, the closer you can get to this corner or this corner, the better. You don't really want to do this corner. There's not as much structure on that corner. Might be able to do it as long as the door's open. I don't know. I like this back corner. So I've been coming up about, if you come off the box, you got to remember you've got this lip on the inside. Don't ask me how I figured this out, because I messed it up one day. I went too low to the corner. But you have this lip here. You will eventually catch that. About 1/4 of an inch. A little bit more. 3/8 of an inch. So we need to be at least higher than our 3/8 mark. So we're going to come up here, to about, there's our 1 inch mark. So yeah, we'll probably do it right about there. You only have a slight lip here. So we're going to come up, I'm going to come off the edge. That way we're not overhanging, nothing's overhanging. And we're going to be right here. And I'm just going to put a little divot right there. Now, I see some people building these, they're putting their antenna in the middle. While it does look better, it gives your antenna a lot of flex. There's a whole lot of flex in this plastic. Eventually that plastic will crack and fail, killing everything on the board. If you put it over here to the corner, it's a lot stronger. You have more rigidity over there. Plus, you'll see it, all this will be hanging out over here. If it were to leak, it's all going to leak over here. Now, it's going to fill up eventually, but we're also going to have a hole in the bottom for our wire coming in, and we don't make that one watertight. That way, if any water gets in, hopefully it'll drain out that bottom. That's the plan. You don't want enough water leaking in that it ever fills the box up. These things will leak. If you do buy the boxes, get the ones with this top edge. That really helps with your water. So we're going to go ahead and pop a little hole in here. Now, normally I would take the radio out when I do this. This is a 5/8 drill bit that is cut way too sharp for plastic, but you know, we can make it work. I like to close the box up. That way it gives the box the most rigidity. That way if the drill bit does catch, it doesn't crack anything. See? Caught. Yeah, Alright. There's our hole in the top of our box. Let's not be scared. Deburr your hole a little bit. Get something in there. Get them little flakes off it. Make it smooth again. Remember, this is where your connection is. Everything's got to be nice, smooth. Alright. Now, you don't want anything on that gasket. Gasket straight through. Nice tight fit. Everything looks good. It's going to work great. You can put silicone on this. Do you need it? No. I haven't found silicone actually does anything for it. As long as you get it good and tight, it's not going anywhere. It shouldn't leak. If it does leak, well, that's why we have the other precautions built into the box. But this will basically go in here and we'll hook to our lower system. So it'll hook in just like that. Here is our Bluetooth. And I have been taking these Bluetooths and just trying to put them in different spots to see if they make a difference. There we go. get them on there. I like to take these little wires and just kind of wiggle them. Make sure they slide back and forth. That way you know they're crimped in real good. Now I've taken them and put them over here, and I've put them up top here, and I don't really notice any difference at all in how well it works. But this one we're going to do it up on top again, just because it made me happy last time. There we go. There's our Bluetooth antenna. Now inside these plastic boxes, Bluetooth antennas have been working out pretty well for me. Like I said, here's this one. Now we're going to go ahead and unhook this one. Just wanted to show y'all how to hook it up. Testing purposes, hook an antenna up to it before you power this thing up. It just goes on there and kind of snaps in place. I think my head's out of the way. I got a big old head. If I'm in the way, guys, I am so sorry. But antenna's there. Remember, this is a piece of coax. Don't break it. This antenna's in now. We'll just kind of stick it under there so it doesn't get caught on anything. We're safe now to plug this unit in. As long as we plug it in the right way. And it should come on. When you get these batteries, they will have reverse polarity. You just have to remember, positive goes to the inside on this one, positive goes to the inside on this side. I'll put a picture up real quick, but we're turned on. Can you see it blinking? There it goes. You see the blink? Now, for our solar panel, we've got these little wires here. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. If you buy the solar panels that I get, they come with a little USB connector. I just plug these in, and then you can plug in your panel. If your panel ever goes bad, you don't have to resolder anything. You literally just plug in a new panel. That works really well. But this is technically a done node. If I had an antenna to put on top of it, we would do it. Let's go ahead and tighten that up real quick. Is a 9/16. There we go. And you're gonna just tighten it up. There we go. Nice, tight, everything looks good on here. Our washer is compressed in there really well. This unit should not leak, at least not from rain. That'll sit there. Let's go ahead and get our cover. Put our cover over it. Still waiting on an antenna to show up in the mail, but like I said, I'll show you the ones I like. They're 5 dBi, 5.5 or something like that. They work really well. This is a done unit. This whole thing will sit here. We do need to put a hole in the bottom for our wires to come into. Alright, so we've got one of these little connectors. I'll put it down below. I like these. They make a pretty small seal. They don't make a huge hole. I do gotta remember what size they are. Simple 1/2-inch drill bit. Everybody's probably got those laying around. Not everybody's was probably left-handed like mine, but you know. I think that one's left-handed too. Yep, that's a left-handed too. Basically, pick a spot in here. I like to come up towards the top of the box, so right in here somewhere. That way if I ever need to put something down in here, like a bigger battery or something, I've got room to put stuff. You know, room to expand. Once again, put your lid on there. Alright, so our hole is now in. Drop all that out. As long as we did it right, it should just slide up in there. Oh, that was close. Almost didn't leave us enough room for our nut to turn, but we did. We got it. I got a burr right there we're going to cut out real quick. And nut on top. There we go. Now we'll get some wrenches, tighten those up. Now, a couple ways you can do it. You can make this wire longer. Pop it up through like this, and actually mine's long enough. This is supposedly a waterproof connection. I've never had one leak, but you could make it long enough to where everything kind of sits in like that. You plug it in, and everything's outside of the box. What we're going to do is actually cut this wire to where we want it. Put a little bit extra inside the box just in case we ever have to change anything. And then just solder on a new pigtail. So this is going to be fun and exciting. Now these wires, I only have 2 on the inside. take your panel before you cut it, flip it upside down. That way it's not making power. There's really no way to cut off a solar panel. Alright, so all we've done is we've put heat shrink on our wire down here, and on our pigtail we've put heat shrink over both of those. Cut our wires, stripped them back, red to red, black to black, and we're just going to do a quick twist. I'm going to make them have kind of a big knot because the heat shrink I'm using is technically the wrong size for this little wire, but it will work. Put some heat on these, maybe get it to where y'all can kind of see what we're doing. If you don't want to solder, I guess you could. There's that one. Oops. And twist that one on good enough, I guess. If you don't want to solder, I guess you could always do it the other way and crimp them, but you're going to need some pretty small crimps. And for stuff like this, solder just seems to be quicker and easier for me. There we go. Do a quick test. Good joint, good joint. I'm going to fold both of these back. Now, run our heat shrink up, cover our positive first. And now we're going to cover up our negative. Start shrinking it up. Now our next piece of heat shrink, which is a bigger piece. Start heating him up. Which probably didn't need to be that big, but it's just what I had. We'll heat this end up real good and we'll squish it. If you get the good heat shrink, it's got like a glue inside. And just kind of squish it. It's a little hot, so be careful. Got a spot here in the middle we haven't done enough yet. It just allows everything to kind of glue together, makes that joint just a little stronger. But that's it. There now is your solar wire. Run our wires up into here. Put our screw cap on. Now, like I said before, just make sure your wires, your reds always go to the inside. Your positive's always on the inside. And this is pretty much a done deal. Get all these wires up. Little zip tie. The only other thing I think I might do, I might have to do it. I may have to. I don't know, guys, what do you think? I think we should put a zip tie in here holding it into the box. I think that would look better. Yep, I think we're going to have to do that. So, unplug our battery. Nice thing about glue or sticking the battery. See, if you're worried about these things coming out, gosh, don't worry. You get good 3M tape, and they don't come out very easily. Unplug our Bluetooth wire. I might have been able to do this without taking it all the way back out, but why fight it when we can do it the easy way? Woo. Alright. So we're just going to come down here and pop 2 holes in it. Put one down here close to the bottom, one right here. There we go. Now we get our zip tie. Now we have a place we can tie this wire up with. Did you guys see where my other screw went? Okay, well, interesting enough. Our other screw has disappeared, but it's not a big deal. We'll find it, or we'll get another one. Hook all of our wires back up. Oops. Nice thing about these plugs is they are only one way. Hook our antenna back up for our Bluetooth. And put our battery back in. Put that wire underneath. Kind of get it out of our way. Put that wire in, that wire in. Our rack wireless antennas there. This is a done solar node. There we go. Twist that off. There you go. There is a finished solar node. Sometimes I take these and just screw them onto here. Sometimes I put it on over here. It just depends on where I need it. I'm not sure where this one's going to live yet. If I do put it here, oh, there's my screw. Go ahead and put him back in before we forget. Uh-oh. I got fat fingers. There we go. All that to put in that zip tie. But there we are. Now we're in. Got everything done. If I do put the solar panel on this, I normally just put a piece of wood right here. That way it gives that screw something to bite into. And sometimes I put epoxy around it. Sometimes I don't. Or not epoxy, but silicone. Just kind of fill this little void right here all the way up with silicone. Stick it on there. Screw your screws in, and you're done. And you're not going to have any leaking problems there. But like I said, guys, this is, I mean, it's a done node. It is that simple to do. Alright guys, and that is how I build my little solar nodes. Like I said, I don't have an antenna right now. It's coming in the mail. Once I get it in, me, we're going to run up here real quick. We're going to set this node up on the mountain. Like I said, this one will be going at the airport up there. So we'll get him up there, get him set up. Guys, once that antenna comes in, I'll see you guys there.